Hello everyone, I am Conquering History Games, and welcome back to part 2 of my Brazil campaign here in Hearts of Iron for Kaiserreich. So, oh yeah, we didn't read this event. Uh, Minga Biera courts the CGT, the Confederacia. I don't know how to pronounce that CAO. The Federacao Geraldo. The CGT has gained notoriety in the past decade for organizing strikes, including being a major part of the May strikes earlier this year. Perhaps the most well organized and influential leftist organization in the country, it's natural that Joao Mengabiera and his allies in the left front have spared little time in bringing them under the ED umbrella. While many in the CGT have their reservations on working with someone who is clearly less radical than themselves, the idea of peaceful transition to a workers' government has grown in some circles, especially after the violent repression of several strikes recently. Left organizes itself. It's fine. We'll be fine. If there's one thing the left is good at, it's splitting. Okay, the yellow cover dossier has happened out here. Alright, now let's think about... Oh, sorry, I was reaching for something. Okay, so we got a couple months to go until November. We just finished up standardized equipment, so let's think here. We got two more things we can probably do. So, I don't really care about the air and the navy right now. I know I'm neglecting it. But I think it really can just wait. I could just barely get to unite the army by the time the election happens. But then I think after the election, I'll still have about a month to go. Yeah, let's get there. Logistics Battalion, medics and whatnot. Tenetist uprising has been quashed again. We just can't get that up, can we? Meaning our stability. Let's see. Indo-Chinese War has begun. That was a fun campaign. Definitely go check that one out. All right. Meeting with FAB leaders. So he's meeting with the left. The FAB is, I think have I gone through everybody here? I think I've already gone through everyone. I won't be reading them anymore. Okay. While the meeting of the Democratic left leader and the anarchist faction was mostly fruitless when it came to formal support, it is clear that the man made some influential friends in that section of the left wing. The FAB is unsurprisingly, for an anarchistic organization, very decentralized. And the meeting was mostly on topics of workers' rights and payments, rather than formal coalition talks. However, it's safe to assume most leftists in Brazil are indeed under the ED's tent, even if not all are formally or publicly doing so. Anarchists in a government coalition, as if. Government coalition is what I meant to say. Oh yeah, the election's in October of 36. I really am stuck. I think I am going to do down here joint staff into military science because the 200 is just so harsh. Industrial leaders meet with Vargas, considering the options are either radicals or liberals who would let them go without any aid. Vargas's words have found ready ears. Difficulty breeds opportunity, eh? It's good that we'll be able to get the logistics real quick when the time comes. How's this going? Come on, keep cranking them out. I want to get to 20 as soon as possible. That way we can interfere in the American Civil War in a more direct way. Although, then we're not going to have any infantry equipment, so we might just be trading one issue for another. We will be backing the AUS. Major Tenetist uprising has been quashed. The revolt quickly collapsed on itself at the lightest resistance from loyalists, but its impact shows immense fragility in our government both at home and abroad. Ooh, 100 political power, and we're in negative stability now. Arabian War has begun. Let's see if Jabal can pull it off. Doubt it. It's very easy for a player to do, though. We're just sort of waiting right now. Waiting to come on, let's get this out. 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay, once these 8 divisions are out, we'll have the 20 we need to start being able to send volunteers. Oh man, tomorrow's Memorial Day. Recording this. Oh, let's see. Gustavo Barroso meets with Pedro de Braganca. Integralists, our chief integralist figure and an army officer, met today with the imperial claimant to the throne of Brazil, Pedro of the House of Barranca. While their meeting was publicly regarding donations to poor neighborhoods and cities near Rio, the fact is that they are likely making plans for an eventual integralist electoral victory. Integralism in Brazil is highly influenced by Portugal, even if being an openly monarchistic party is technically illegal. And I am so sorry, there's somebody screaming up my street. I don't know if you can hear that. The meeting has stirred up much controversy, for it is proof for many of the AIB's true allegiance. Integralist leadership seems to be uniting and preparing in a way until now unprecedented. Only time will tell if these maneuvers result in anything major. This isn't monarchism. I don't know what is. It's very interesting. I suppose maybe I shouldn't do the Portugal campaign then, because they would both be integralists. On the other hand, it's so different. Like in South America, we're going to be hanging out. I don't know. Yeah, scratch that Portugal idea. Sorry, everybody. It'll wait. We'll do it another time. Okay, let's unite the army. Yeah, I'll do that first before I take the negative hit in army experience. So, our army has traditionally been more decentralized than even the state itself, with local militias, blah, blah, blah. The AIB has funded and organized a festival in Sao Paulo. That's the Integralists, with musicians, speeches, and plenty of free food and drinks. The show, which pretty much celebrates their victory months before the election, had speeches from basically every Integralist of note, bishops, and even the imperial claimant to the throne. What was an unprecedented act in recent political history. Journalists called the event bread and circus and mocked the largely uneducated crowd that gathered, but there is no doubt that the AIB is sure of their victory. Is that even legal? That's funny, bread and circuses, because as many of you know, I've been trying to diversify the channel. I'm continuing to try to diversify the channel, and somebody told me after I'd put a few videos up in a row that were not Kaiserreich, they commented that they just wanted the bread and circuses of Kaiserreich. I'm not saying the people who just demand Kaiserreich are uneducated, but it's like, just give us the thing we want. This is the only thing we want. Stop doing other things. Bread and circuses. We want bread and circuses. No, we don't want vegetables. For diversity. Alright. Vargas, as he makes speeches throughout the country, used his speech today in Juez de Fora to denounce what he called, quote, utopian populism, unquote, and blamed the unrest that plagues Brazil on said foolish ideals. Vargas claims that they want the quick, fast, and painless way out of the troubles of the country, but put the people into sleep with golden promises, only to rob them in their sleep of their freedoms, and some other, less friendly analogies. The frankness and the language of the speech captivated the audience, and recordings of it are being transmitted via radio already in some major cities. Is this for the best? Alright, what are we short on? Bit of aluminum. Okay, the left leader is reaffirming that he is a moderate. People are saying he's a syndicalist. He is not in fact a syndicalist in any way, and mentions that European syndicalism is not an example to be followed, citing the civil war in Italy as a warning to the consequences of extremism. His words fall flat on those convinced he is a spy sent by London to take over Brazil, a rumor already being spread by integralist pamphleteering. That's interesting because I don't entirely remember the war, but isn't the Union of Britain a big part of the reason why Chile is syndicalist? Like, Marmaduke Grove is basically their guy there. Right? He lived in exile in the UK for a bit. Yeah, chosen to perform such a role as a liaison in Great Britain, effectively just to keep him out of Chile, but there he took part in the revolution during his exile. Oh, wait, no. The economy worsened. Yeah. Okay. Alright, election year tensions are gone. Cool. So this is obvious choice. The day of decision has arrived. All pieces are on the table, and the most contentious elections of Brazil's history are about to begin. Polling stations countrywide face never-before-seen lines as pamphlets and criers ask for votes across the nation. For very different visions of the country clash in ideas, and in some places like Sao Paulo, literally, as the now semi-regular clashes between the unions and integralists dominate the news for the day, at least until the results start to come in. After the dust is settled, victor and would-be savior of Brazil emerge. Gustavo Barroso and the Integralist Brasileira. Now, the change is not going to happen immediately, but soon. Long lines. Can you imagine that? Wait, why have I not taken electronic engineering yet? Why did I must have screwed up somewhere. But that's weird. I could have sworn I always take that first. But yeah, the long lines, I can't imagine that. I live in El Paso, which is one of the worst cities ever in terms of electoral turnout. It is regularly in the single digits. It's fucking pathetic. The mastermind of modern sociological thought, Casagrande and Senzala, has been republished today in what some decry as a politically charged move. Regardless, the contents of the book remain unchanged. A deep analysis of Brazil's cultural, racial, and social history, breaking myths that some held for decades. The book not only refutes the supposed inferiority of Brazil due to miscegenation, but also lauds how the Brazilian people inherited the best of its many people. Indians, Moors, blacks, and Europeans have lived side by side and created a Brazilian race that is among the best on this planet. Masterpiece. Improved. Yeah, like there was a local election recently. Lloyd Olsen got elected. And freaking yeah, there was this recent local election for the school. It was the school board was the main thing, but there was other things like, for example, what to do about a park, like basically if it should be developed or not. And there was a couple of, I don't want to get into the whole ballot, but like I went in there in the morning. I was like the third person at the polling station where I go to, and you know what? I need to look up the stats on that. It was bad. Let's see here. I want to see what the turnout was. So, first off, I'm going to pull up the county. Because the problem isn't that people aren't registered. People are registered. They just don't go. Let's see here. Yet another uprising in the barracks. While their demands were similar in nature to the previous ones, we managed to destroy the revolt in a relatively swift and decisive fashion. A minor inconvenience. Keep going, don't they? Gustavo Barroso takes office. Gustavo Barroso has been sworn in as president of Brazil today. In his speech, he announces the beginning of a new era for Brazil, that this will be the election that is going to define our country's future. Viva o Brasil! We now, National Populists, become the ruling party. 20% more popular. Okay, couple of things are going on here now. All right, we've bypassed the regency and we just finished up uniting the army. So, we got new ministers. Let's see, more political power, more resource, nice. Lowers infantry and support equipment production costs, very cool. And more political power and stability here as well. Very good. The incredibly short-sighted crypto syndicalists who roamed the parliament have been politely requested to leave. They naturally didn't take too kindly to that, of course, but it's a necessary measure to prevent Brazil from becoming a French colony. Good riddance. And stability goes down. All party support for left-leaning ideologies will be removed, as well as increasing our political power. Sweet, so they're all at zero. There's nothing left of the social liberals. Excellent, we're already at almost 50%. Okay, so I got the stats here. Right now. We're trying to go to the elections. I'm trying to get, I want to make sure I don't give you guys the wrong information as far as how many people in El Paso County are registered. There's actually another election coming up in a couple of weeks. It's just a runoff thing. So it's just like a continuation. All right. So what we could do here is we have the regency done, and we want to. You see, we're gonna have to take these 5 things before we can get down here to the Empire of Brazil, which is when we start to get the real good shit. So I need to ask myself: do I want to take the political power loss, and more importantly, do I want to like not get these research slots? I think what we could do is let's corporate power. That's gonna get rid of Black Monday. Let's do all these things because this is gonna give me stuff like additional popularity, and as the popularity gets boosted by 10% every time, plus we're getting regular political power too, we'll be able to do a lot of stuff. And in fact, maybe because we're... No, one thing at a time, Propaganda efforts. I think the first thing we want is, let's officialize church support. The clergy now stands fully behind us in our efforts to make the nation everything that it's supposed to be. The new Brazil, with the blessing of Our Lady, will be one nation under God. This is still, it's going to take a little while, but this is still basically the fastest way we can move along here. And we're going to start getting our mobilization and stuff up. Anyway. Okay, so, according to, this is the official El Paso County votes, there's 450,000 people registered as of today. And a little bit of change. And actually, that's low. It used to be higher. So it seems that our plans regarding syndicalists were leaked to the common public, and hundreds of syndicalist intellectuals and students have fled the country via various methods in the past month. Our forces are spread thin, maintaining order, and thus they were not able to escape unharmed, but they should know Brazil now belongs to God, not Marx. They won't be missed. So you've got, let's call it 450,000. Let's round it down. Now, according to the El Paso Times, which is the major newspaper of repute, I use that in quotations because I don't think I've ever met anybody who reads the El Paso Times who actually thinks it's a good paper, ironically enough. Meeting with the Industrialist. We have recently gained a mandate of the masses to rule in God's name, but yet the captains of industry of Brazil sadly remain unconvinced of our good intentions regarding their future. We will arrange a meeting to explain our goals to them and to carefully lay out the advantages of siding with His Majesty's Regency, as they have taken to mockingly calling the government. The matter is, should we coerce them or negotiate in a more diplomatic manner? We're going to take a harsh approach, which is going to hurt our stability for a year, but I want me some political power, and we can quickly now get early mobilization. Okay, so 450,000 registered voters in El Paso. At the special election, according to the El Paso Times, as reported by the El Paso County Elections Department, only 20,269 total votes happened on the, that was the election of May 3rd. Excuse me, May 4th. So, like, less than 5%, about 5%. And it looks like more people have actually been registered since then. So probably there were people who found out there was an election, they went, whoops, and then they went out and got registered, because according to this, the day of the election, there was 430,000 registered voters. So, yeah, it's about 5%. Not to mention that there were also city elections that were happening in the county at Horizon City and San Alazario. So the idea of lines at the, now we're in January, the election happened in October here at the gate, but the idea of lines at a ballot box is fucking baffling to me, because I've been born and raised, I've spent most of my life in El Paso, definitely the majority of it. And I cannot even imagine that. There's just such apathy here. Even some close friends of mine who are really political dudes, I won't say what we all believe in, but actually a lot of us don't agree on stuff, but it's like, and they didn't even go vote. It's like, why the fuck do you talk about politics so much and you don't even go vote, dude? That's like the simplest shit you could do. Alright, enough bitching and moaning from me. Sorry. Officializing church support. We're gonna now woo the North. We cannot increase our mobilization yet, so I'm wondering if I could go up to limited conscription, so I don't have to do that for a while. So I don't have to worry about my manpower for a while. So how about we... Yeah, we are going to do this. I just want to... Let's just take care of that while we have the political power now. I need to do something about the war support. None of this helps me, though. Alright. But this is good. Believe me, this is a fast start. Like, if you want to do Vargas's route, as I talk about in the guide, it takes a while. We're in early 37, and we've already got our established government in power, so that's very good. My knuckles, something fierce. Looks like Indochina's gonna fail. Good. Communist. Yep. As soon as I said it, it was over. Very good. Very good. Very good. Standoff in America. Oh shoot, it's going down. Good job, Olsen. You blew it! And by the way, I'm very aware that the Civil War has now been taken away. Avoiding the Civil War has been taken away as an option, which I think is fine. I personally was not a huge fan of the Civil War being around, although I can understand people who do want it to be an option. But it's really not that big a deal, especially as they, just look at Kaiserreich Cinema. They've been doing all these American Civil War things. I think the American Civil War should be something that is like Kerensky. It's unavoidable. It's so important to everything that goes on in the world. It's like their version. It's like Kaiserreich's version of the Spanish Civil War, where everybody just starts dumping volunteers in there. Of course, I know, yes, there is a Spanish Civil War that happens, but it's just such a huge event. It is the event before the Second World War goes out. It is a global event, even if it only happens physically in the United States, because everybody starts putting or every major power, fucking Siam doesn't give a shit, but like every major power has a horse in this race. So I think it should always happen. That's just my personal opinion. Marshal Candido Rondon has always been an explorer first and a general second, but always a staunch Republican. He's been on an expedition since before the elections and has arrived back in civilization just recently. He was appalled by the prospect of the return of the monarchy and is publicly condemning our government. While the man is old and not politically connected, he is very well regarded by the public, especially the military, so retaliation must be measured carefully. He must take some kind of action. We can get rid of him as a field marshal. What's going to happen either way, or we can take a stability hit and get some political power. The political power is coming in kind of steady. I think, yeah, we are definitely gonna just federalize the army. It's gonna hurt us. It's 200 political power, but it's so I don't have to deal with going down here. So we can. Yeah, that's 2 less focuses. And time's not always on our side. Okay, Second American Civil War is jumping off. How's this going? All right. Okay, Civil War in the USA. It has devolved into a civil war. We are going to say protect the common folk, support the Union State. By the way, I saw the new American Union State video, the preview one. I don't want to say it was bad. I think it was the least good. That's probably the better way to say it, of the American Civil War things that Kaiserreich Cinema has done. But I know some people have been going, what's that? What is the long fucking story about the dog and that? Like, they just ate up a minute and a half of the video. It's like, dude, like, speaking as an American, speaking as somebody who's born and raised in Texas and has met a lot of Southern people over the course of his life, that is what it's like talking to Southerners, like deep Southerners. They just gotta get, they just go on these whole stories, Paul growing up and never dad and blah blah blah, and talking about whatever the fuck. And that's how they are. That's how they are. You see, people don't understand, or at least I feel that people not from the United States don't truly understand that the United States is freaking enormous. There's so many different cultures going on. Like, I'm like, obviously I was raised in the Southwest culture, really El Paso culture, I would say, because El Paso is very isolated. Even today, like, you have to drive hundreds of miles to hit anything of serious note that's like different. So like, you gotta drive out to Austin and San Antonio, or you gotta go up here to Santa Fe, Albuquerque, get down into Chihuahua. Well, Juarez is right across the border, but. And then Tucson over here, or like Phoenix, I should say. Like, these are very different. So there's almost like a little bubble that's just desert around El Paso that you got to drive out of to get to somewhere else. So you got Southwest culture. Of course, there's West Coast culture. There's Rocky Mountain culture, Midwest culture. You got Chicago, the second city. That's its own sort of culture. And that's not to be confused with Minnesota culture. And then you have New England culture, and I know Bostonians and New Yorkers and stuff, they're gonna be mad. So like you have that, and then there's like subset of the culture. So you have like Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston. Of course, then there's the deep South, which you don't want to confuse with Florida. And so actually that's sometimes a good argument to get into people, especially people from the South, if you ask them what is considered the South. Hold on a second. Now I'm just rambling. Here I go. But like, you know, some people might say all of Florida is not the South anymore. Like, once you go south of Tallahassee, that's not the South, like a capital S in quotation marks. And then some people will qualify and they'll say, you know what? I think Oklahoma's part of the South, culturally. Now, if you meet anybody from South Carolina, they're very, they're like, you know, South Carolina is one of those states that is like, nobody could say it's not part of the South, again in quotation marks. Hold on a second. Let's get the industrial company. Yeah, but again in quotation marks, because hell, this is the first state to secede from the Union. So you know, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, these are very definitively part of the Deep South. Tennessee will usually be in there. There's some people who say Georgia's not really qualified anymore, or because like Atlanta's been changing so much. You know, Texas, like maybe you like draw a line in Texas, and that line is moving further east all the time. But if you talk to anybody from South Carolina, they'll tell you, no, Texas is not the South. That's the Southwest, even if you're in Houston. Okay. Let us, yeah, keep doing propaganda stuff. So we're up to 75% party popularity, this is real good. We're up to over a single political PowerPoint a day, which in Kaiserreich is freaking amazing. And then you have places where it blurs. Like for example, I have an uncle who was kind of born, I think, like the southeast here. Like basically he was born and raised right here in southern Illinois, but not all the way in southern Illinois. And the way he used to describe it, he's like, I was basically right. Like if you drew a line right in between St. Louis, Chicago, and Louisville, that's where he lived. And so he always talking about how, like, there, for example, this is gonna sound weird, but like sports fans. So you'd have a blurring. You'd have people who were Chicago sports fans, and you had St. Louis sports fans right here. And like he talked about how his father used to tell him, you can be anything that you want in your life, but you can't be a Cardinals fan. Yeah, sports in America is pretty funny too. I think it was actually Patton who once said, "There will never be another." It's getting interesting now. Africa and Portugal are at war. It's like, but I think it was actually Patton who said there will never be another civil war because college football exists. That's where the states get out their aggression toward each other. Football, American football, that is, with the pigskin. You know, I'm just kind of talking right now because we're just waiting for some bigger events to happen. And boy, these are taking their sweet time coming out. Yeah, a lot of wars happening. This is very good. Actually, we're at 30% now. I'm wondering, do I dare start to justify on somebody? You know, who's the most socialist? Who do we want to go for first? Carles is still going strong over here in Argentina, but we should go after somebody. What do you guys think? Like, look, this Peru's only got friggin' 7 divisions. Might not be a great idea, though. We don't have a good proper way to get up there. Can't draw front lines up here. Yeah, it's all this divided areas. Maybe we could do something like go after Bolivia, get a little crazy. Paraguay. Who to get? Who's got the most factories? These guys got 3. These guys got 3. These guys got 6. We're at 16. They've only got 8 divisions. You know what? We're gonna do this. We are definitely going for it. Might regret that later. Gotta pull this off. Yet another reason why we gotta get these out. Are we still mobilizing? No. Okay, so we're maxed out. So right now, at most, we can put about 1 million men in the field, more or less. Oh, whoops. There we go. Come on, come on, come on. We need the war support to go up just a little bit. Just a teeny bit. Come on, somebody throw a pie. Get the tension up. Alright, Argentina's gone to war with the Patagonians. So, Chile and Argentina is breaking. Argentinian war is breaking out. I don't think Bolivia is going to get involved, so this is a perfect chance to strike. Although we could go after Paraguay. I don't think I will, though. We're gonna. So, let's stop it there. As the big war happens between the A and the C country, while B goes for its own moves. We could send in the army. I think that's really unnecessary, though. Well, we gotta get stability up. We'll figure that out in the next episode. So, thank you for joining me. I am Conquering History Games. In the next episode, we are going to start expanding here in South America. That's good. That's good that these guys are all fighting each other, and they're just going to swoop in and grab Bolivia here. And, you know, the reason why I want Bolivia is because then this gives me access to Peru, and I could start going up and around. I could start going into North South America. Of course, because I probably should have said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, but the goal is here going to be, we're going to take over all of South America, if practical. And maybe we'll go into Africa and start messing around in there. It's gonna depend. It's a little, you know, there's RNG. Anyway, I'm Conquering History Games. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not.